Howdy everybody. Today we're going to be going over some songwriting tips that are actually for real people with real jobs, families, etc., etc. So, how's about we crack this nut? Alright guys, how y'all doing? I'm so glad to have you back. We're going to go over some stuff that worked for me and hopefully it works for you. First thing to get this whole thing started, I want to kind of set the scene. These tips are intended for real people, and what I mean by real people is that you have a job. Maybe you're going to school full time. You have bills, you have priorities. Let's be honest, music is probably not paying your bills right now as of yet. So hopefully we're going to work on changing that. A lot of this kind of came about because whenever I was coming up, I watched a lot of videos, and when I was getting started, none of the tips that people gave me in the videos worked. They just didn't. Nobody was really making any videos for, like, okay, well, how do I work around being completely zapped after working a 12-hour security job? And then I have to come home and help my wife cook dinner for the kids, and you know what I mean? Like, there's just none of that. And what do you do when inspiration strikes and you're at work? You can't just leave, right? I will say that most of those tips are bull, but I don't want to go too hard on them, because what you have to understand is that 99.9% of people who make videos like that, they probably already have music paying their bills, you know what I mean? Or maybe even content creation in general. The tips that they give you probably aren't applicable to you, because the tips that they're giving you it's advice that works for what they're doing probably closer to the present moment that they're in. It's not giving you the advice that helped them get to where they are. Essentially, that's what these tips are for, is for how to get from point A to point B despite all of the other stuff that you have to deal with. Anyway, let's get to tip number 1. Tip number 1 is collect song titles.
What does that mean, collect a song title?
First, let me give you how I found out that this worked. During the last 10 years of my professional career, being the military and private security, the biggest issue that I had was that inspiration always struck when I was at work. It drove me insane because I wanted to drop everything that I was doing right then and there, grab a guitar out of thin air, and then just put words to paper. And I couldn't do it because I'm at work. Got to pay the bills, and right now this is what pays the bills. I started doing what I could, and that was, if I came up with an idea, I would just write it down really quick, just song title format. So it could be something as simple as me seeing some graffiti on a train that I'm stuck at waiting to get home, or it could be some guy's bumper sticker on my way to work. It could be something as simple as that, and then you just write it down and you collect it. In short, song titles are
everywhere.
Could be something you just hear in a conversation. Just keep an eye out, keep your ears open, you know what I'm saying? Onward, number 2. Tip number 2. This is a weird one, but for my ADD monkey brain, it kind of works really well. This one came to me because I found that whenever I came home from work, I'm just slumped. I could barely think. Between my dog barking, my baby yelling daddy, my wife giving me a death stare because I didn't take my boots off before I sat down. I mean, honestly, I was zapped before I even got home. I was just overstimulated. I didn't even want to listen to music on my ride home from work. So I would put on a podcast or something just to kind of help my brain just slow down. A lot of the times I didn't even care about the podcast. It was just slow down and unwind. Now back to what I'm saying here. When I say watch more movies, what I really mean is ingest more art from different forms other than music. So if you focus too much on songwriting, you'll probably get stuck on a plateau and you'll have a writer's block. I've been there more times than I would really like to admit, and it's just all bad. You don't want that. You don't want that. Watch a movie, dude. Read a book. I mean, I prefer autobiographies. Now, when you're ingesting this media that's not music, and preferably not even music related, because I find that if I watch a documentary about songwriters, or I'm still hyper focused on music and I'm like, man, I gotta do what they're doing. Like, you don't want that. You want something that completely makes you unwind and you're not thinking about music. You're just kind of feeling the art that you're watching. You're feeling the movie. You're feeling the TV show. You're really immersing yourself in whatever you're reading. Just get lost in it, man. Focus on the colors that the director's emphasizing. Hone in on the descriptive words that the author uses to describe an inanimate object. Allow your brain to stop thinking,
I need to write songs now.
Allow yourself to become a better artist by appreciating other forms of art, and I guarantee you, it'll help you write better songs. This is one of the tips that I actually did pick up from kind of a traditional means. I read it in a book called Songwriting Without Boundaries by Pat Pattison. Number 3 is write on a timer. Basically what you do is you set a timer, let's say for 10 minutes. You pick a random word and you write every single thing you can think about that word that could potentially be a song or it could be poetic, whatever. Just write and keep writing. When that timer's up, I don't care if you're on a roll, you drop the pen. Do not keep writing. You hear drop the pen. That's where the benefit comes from. It makes you focus on getting to writing the meat and potatoes faster. You have to learn how to kind of just wade through the muck and the that sucks and just get to the good stuff faster. That's what the book tells you, but what I've found for me personally is that it makes me want to write more. So if you're anything like me and you're a little bit rebellious, that timer is telling you no. It just makes me want to do it more. So it kind of reinvigorates me wanting to write in general. I love writing on a timer. Now, that being said, writing on a timer, that doesn't necessarily mean that whatever you write on the timer is going to be your best work. So I'm going to go over this in a different video, but you have to be able to allow yourself to write. Getting rid of the bad junk writing in your system. So you gotta allow yourself to write some bad stuff, and the timer is a perfect time to do that. So I almost included this one as an extra tip because I didn't really use it a whole lot personally, but I have used it, and when I used it, it worked very well for me. This one is called morning pages. Essentially what you do is within, say, 10, 20 minutes of you waking up, you start free writing. When I say free writing, I mean this writing is not objective. There is not an objective that you were trying to reach when writing these pages. You're not trying to create an arena-worthy chorus. Here, you're just trying to write whatever you're feeling. Most of the time, at least for me, it's just phrases. That just describe kind of how you're feeling. I mean, it could even just be words. A single word that is describing how you're feeling. It's kind of cool because it kind of serves as a cryptic diary that other people will have a hard time figuring out what the hell you're saying if they come across it. So, you know.
There you go, but
The thing that I really like about this, and it kind of ties back in with the last tip I told you toward the end, you got to stop chasing perfection with songwriting. And as crazy as that sounds, you're going to be like,
Well, how am I going to write the best song ever and make $1 million?
hear me out. How would you put that? You got to kind of flush your system out because there's a lot of junk writing in everybody. Everybody has a lot of junk that they have to cycle through. They got to get it out of their system so they can get to the nice, clean stuff. Think about it like you drink a bunch of water. Like say like you went on a bender.
That's what it is.
It's like a mental songwriting detox. There you go. So you write the crappy stuff in the morning that's just whatever. It's just really, what are you feeling? What are the words? What are the phrases that making you feel? I really recommend morning pages. All right, everybody, that does it for today, and I hope these tips work for you the same way they did for me. The big thing that you got to understand with this is that I'm a regular dude at the end of the day, and these tips are for regular people at the end of the day. These are just some of the most important things that I found that have actually worked, and the majority of the videos out there, they're giving you these crazy methods to write better songs that just don't work. It's fake news. Anyway, that's a wrap, y'all. If you like what you see here, I invite you to follow me on my social media down below, and I hope to see y'all next week. Catch you later.